Hello again. We're out here on a job site in metropolitan Atlanta, and I'm here with two development professionals. And as we explore why our house is so expensive and why our construction costs gone up so much and development cost, we're going to talk about a new requirement that we're having to face that helps is really in large part some of our costs are due to this effort. With me today are Paul Rivers and Butch Oliver. Paul, would you introduce yourself for the folks?
Yes, I own Rivers Grading. I've been in business about 25 years and been running heavy equipment and doing this for a long time.
And Butch, can you tell us a little about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Butch Oliver and I work for Templar Development. I've got 30 plus years government experience and I own my own environmental company for about 12 years.
So these gentlemen have seen um, all the different things we've had to do in the industry over the last 4 decades, going into 4 decades. In Butch's case, in my case, and of course Paul's a young guy here. He's just in his third decade. And what we're looking at today is we saw at the front of the show. We're going to talk about stormwater management and some of the stormwater requirements that are causing us a problem. And I would contend as an investor and developer that what we're being asked to do is fix a problem that didn't exist. And so we're standing in front of a large detention pond. Butch, would you tell us what a detention pond traditionally did?
Traditionally, a detention pond would detain the water until the sediment dropped to the bottom and then it would release through a half round and gravel, cleaner water so it didn't disturb the downstream property.
And so, Paul, would you talk about what we're asked to do now to comply with those efforts? I mean, instead of just a standard detention pond, what are we now being asked to do?
Now we've kind of gone to using a skimmer, which I think does, it's cost preventative. And what it does is it floats in the pond as the water level comes up and takes water off the top where the heavier material floating in the water sinks down. I think that's worthwhile. But then now we're being asked about, you want to get on with the retention. Like if you see where this bark is here in this corner of the pond, we've put in about 3 to 4 feet of different material down into the clay. We dug down about 3 feet. We put in about, let's see, 6 inches of 57 stone, I think 2 inches of 89 stone, and then 2 feet of planting media.
So if I look at this, what is it supposed to accomplish? You've got a head wall there. A head wall is where the water will come out that we're collecting inside the community. It comes out there. So once it comes out there, there's two head walls down there where the water comes out. How is this supposed to work the way we're required to do it? What do they think it's going to do?
I think what they're going for is the water having enough speed coming out of those head walls to go through that rock and into that filter. But what is actually happening, if you see, the water's coming out and it's just kind of coming through that rock and it's eroding.
And it's already depositing silt down here at the bottom. We'll have to clean all that out.
Right.
So if we look at the plans here, what happened is we submitted a set of plans. The municipality staff makes red line comments. They send those back to our engineer, and our engineer has to make these changes. So what did the municipality ask us to do here, Paul, that if we were just doing detention ponds, we would not have had to do?
This area of bioretention, this square here, with these layers that were added, and I don't know if you want to talk about cost, involved in this, but we've had to do 3 on this project. And Butch, you figured up the time we had the sod and stuff in there, we were over about 50,000 a piece.
Yeah, because we have to sod, you can see here, we have to sod these banks along the side. Took about 28 pallets of sod and roughly $500 a pallet.
And this is just an 80-lot neighborhood.
This is just
this
an
is a
80-lot
relatively not a
neighborhood.
small neighborhood.
And then I've got to come back and plant plantings inside of this later. So there's some additional plantings that's not showing here that I've got to come back in and plant.
Okay, now if we had done just a standard detention pond, what would have been done here? What I'm thinking is you would have a standpipe here, and then this would all been open to collect the water volume. And but where am I missing? What if we had a detention pond? What else would have been required?
That's about it. This would have been gone. You'd have just had the detention pond would have been like this. You would have had either a filter ring. You'd have had your maybe a half round with rock on it, depending on if that's what they wanted. And that's about it. You wouldn't have had all this expense right here.
Okay, and then when this is completed, who owns it?
The community owns it.
So the HOA will
The
own it.
HOA owns it, and they're responsible for the upkeep and the maintenance.
What is the maintenance on this? Do we know yet?
We don't know, but in the past, once this gets full of silt, it roughly averages on a pond this size, it'll run you anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000 to clean it out.
Okay, and the hope is you'd have all the landscapes in and you wouldn't have that level of silt. But at the same time, if you're not going to have that level of silt once it's all landscaped, you don't need this level of treatment at all, right?
Correct.
Okay, so Butch, you had a lot of experience, tons of experience in this industry and around erosion control specifically. Was this a problem that needed this level of attention?
No.
What?
I think their goal, Jay, is on these bioponds. If you look at this one, what's supposed to happen is the water collects in here, it seeps down through all these different voids, and it's supposed to go into the aquifers, underwater ground creeks and streams. It's underground, it's called aquifers. And it's supposed to go down, clean the water, and recharge these aquifers, which with our Georgia clay, right here, it don't go any further than right here, because it just stops it, because our Georgia clay does not percolate.
So for the 10,000 years prior to us breaking ground, what did the water do?
It run off and went in your streams and your creeks and down to your lakes and down to the ocean.
So it ran, they call it sheet
Sheet flow.
flow. So it ran across the ground and it ran down to this lower area because that's where gravity works.
Right.
And then it filters itself because God provided us this great green space here.
Right.
And then it went down in the creek. Now, we're not arguing that we don't want detention ponds, but we are, just a detention pond alone would improve the volume of water that left this site, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Let's look at the plans for the biofilters here. So now these things, so where the previous drawing addressed something that we always had to build. We always had to build detention ponds. And the detention pond would have been in that site. But these biofilters are two new things. And these are, as we investigate increased cost to the developer, increase lot price to the builder, and increase home price to the home buyer, these biofilters are things that we never had to do. And Paul, can you describe a little bit about what they are and what they're intended to do?
You want to talk about what we traditionally did versus what we do now?
Yeah,
maybe?
do a comparison. That'd be great.
We did a subdivision to compare Flakes Mill, where instead of having this biofilter, come in, we just had, a nice gentle swell that came down to some pipes that captured the water and sent it into the main detention pond, versus now we've got, we've got 6 inches of sand, 2 feet of rock, and then some stone wrapped in fabric to, catch this water before it goes into the drain, which is, we still got a drain, from the pipe there. But
What's the goal? What does the staff tell us the goal is for that?
It's the same thing as in this big pond. It's to filter the water and have it percolate down into the aquifers. That's all it is to clean the water.
So once it's landscaped, what's it filtering?
Nothing.
So it's just filtering rainwater.
Rainwater.
Okay. And for the 10,000 years prior to us getting here, the rainwater was free to do whatever it wanted to do, right?
Right, because all our lots will be sodded,
Yeah.
and grass is the best thing you can do to purify the water and clean it.
Right.
That is the best.
Actually, a fully grassed community probably has less water leave the site than it was before we got here, as far as it was wooded, but everything underneath is kind of wide open. You don't have that near that amount of dense vegetation.
Right. Well, and your detention pond is designed with the OCS so that at different rain storms, it releases a certain amount of water, and you can't release more water than post-development. And so that your detention pond holds the water back. That's why it's a detention pond. It detains the water, and it goes through that OCS at a slower rate. So everything settles in it, it holds it back, so you're catching stuff in your main detention pond.
I think that, so we think there's probably $150,000 direct cost between the landscaping and the additional requirements inside these things. I think we agree that we lost about 8 lots in
Yeah.
complying with this because of the amount of real estate that it takes to build these filters in this pond. And so in an 80 lot neighborhood, a loss of 8 lots increases the cost of every lot by 10%. So you've got 10% additional cost there. You have a $150,000 development cost. And this is happening in a market that says it needs more houses and says it needs more affordable houses. And because of these mandates, we're routinely having to do things that offer no appreciable benefit to the buyer and only increase cost. Now, you'll see a video in a moment of a drone flight over the biofilter, and on either side of the biofilters are building lots. And what you'll see there, I hope the perspective will illustrate or demonstrate, is the amount of usable backyard is going to be a challenge for us. Now we're going to build the homes and we're going to sell the homes and we're going to make that beautiful and we're going to make it usable and we're going to make the people love those backyards. But that's going to cost some money as well. Paul got me to walk down this biofilter down in the backyard of one of our homes, and we just wanted to demonstrate what this typically would not have existed. Normally, until the last few years, this would have been a flat backyard, but now we've had to create this filter system at the property line. And Paul, what did you think it was important for us to see here?
What I wanted to demonstrate is when we got all this graded and got everything put in, once we put our different materials in the bottom of this pond, we had an 1.5 inch thunderstorm happen the night when we got done, and the guys were coming in with the sod the next day to help erosion on the slopes. But this is one of those things you can't stop. But now we had runoff in this corner here, and this part of the bioretention is now full of silt, and it's no good. And I don't know how much seeped into the rock underneath, but basically this isn't filtering anything now, and there's nothing we could do. It's just Mother Nature. You can't control it.
Right.
And we had very favorable rain conditions. We'd got this in really quick, all 3 of them, but still something like this happened, and now you're looking at another $50,000 to redo it because this is wrapped in fabric and got all the different layers. I can't come in here and just dig this little section and replace it. It's pretty much
So what's likely to happen is we'll be getting our inspection, and the inspectors for this municipality will see this, and they'll ask us to dig until there's no silt, correct? And so we don't know what the added cost of this is going to be. So if things ran perfectly, we were going to be down $150,000 in unnecessary cost, plus the loss of at least 8 building lots, and now the repair on this. And so once again, we think that us and the municipalities and the councils and the commissions, we think we're all on the same side. We all believe that there needs to be more houses and more affordable houses. But this, I believe, is an unintended consequence of this type of requirement. And we don't even know what the implications will be to the HOAs. And when that happens, it'll be years down the road, and we know the rain will continue to fall even after it's taken over by the HOA, correct?
Oh, yeah.
And they don't have access to a Paul Rivers grading company or a Jay Knight or a Butch Oliver at Templar Development.
I get an email every month on how rock prices are going up.
Yeah.
So I'd hate to know what this will cost in 10 years.
So this is supposed to fill it with water and run into that.
It is. And a pedestal top goes over that just to enclose the hole.
And so we essentially, by having that thing elevated a couple of feet above this, we're encouraging all the silt to cover all this rock, right?
We are.
Yeah. I think that's just something, and I'm thankful we had this opportunity to illustrate what the reality is in the field, because I don't think anybody would agree this is a good idea. So what we believe is the municipalities and the staff, with the best of intention, who can argue about clean water? Everybody wants clean water. But I think we've overdone it a little bit. And I think what we've seen here is that with the best of intention, we've solved a problem that didn't really exist. And now we've caused a problem that we all can agree exists. And that problem is housing availability and housing affordability. Paul, Butch, I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Your expertise is appreciated. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go?
No, I just appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you.